in the know, non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
You know, that's kind of, I'm sure they'll all hit me when I get there, you know, it's one of those things, but I'm not, that's one of those things where, you know, I still got to play a game on Sunday morning or, you know, Sunday afternoon, so I'm going to try my best not to think about it until after the game, and then, you know, when that time comes, you know, I get to play there once a year, so that's just going to be part of my career.
I don't think it means that much. TJ Hockenson going back to the hallowed grounds of Ford Field to face the Lions again.
Both teams 4-1 since the trade at the deadline.
Yeah, I think maybe Hockenson was bad for the culture in Detroit, but he's been great for the culture in Minnesota.
I mean, he looks like a Dan Campbell dream, doesn't he?
He is.
Also, Hawk, like tighten up the ponytail a little bit, man. You got like you look like the Grinch. You got
he's an Iowa guy,
all over
dude.
the place.
You don't care.
That's true.
Yeah, halfway through. This is the time of year too. Like NFL locker rooms, November, December, guys have stopped shaving their beards. Guys stop like wearing nice clothes. They're just in the grind, man.
They stop showering.
Their hygiene becomes even more questionable, unfortunately. Speaking of which, this is Purple Daily Vikings entertainment, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. We'll get to our official picks here on this episode in just a moment. The show is presented in part by our friends over at TCL. TCL is one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. And a shout-out to our friends at Surly Brewing Company, also helping power the show on a daily basis. Let's get into some of these key questions here, boys, about this game against the Lions, in which the Vikings are underdogs. Kind of crazy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big is this game?
You can clinch the division extremely early with a win. I'm going to put this at an 8. It's a division game. You've got a chance to keep your momentum going. Who knows? You could even win by double digits. So, yeah, I think that this game, no game for the most part, probably is going to be make or break. But I think they're all important in some way, unless you've got your seed clinched for the last game. You can rest guys, in which case it will probably be about a 1. But I think it's an 8. I think you're going to Detroit. You're not favored. Detroit is playing well. They've won 4 or 5. So it's not like the old trap game, right? Where it's like, it's the Lions. They stink. Oh my God, we lost. It's actually a game against a competitive team playing well. I'm going to give it significance.
I'm going to ratchet it up to 10. And here's why. The division is on the line here. You can clinch the division, which is great. You can wrap this thing up. Makes life a lot easier. It gets you a wild card weekend, guaranteed home game, potentially gets you in the driver's seat to be a 2 seed as well. So you need these wins. The second reason for me too is why it's a 10 is this is the second time the Vikings have been underdogs. And yes, Detroit is playing better football. To Judd's point before we started recording, they have the same record as the Vikings post trade deadline in the Hockenson trade. But you know what? The Vikings can show the rest of the league that, hey, us being 2.5-point underdogs is BS. And we're going to go in there and kick the Lions' ass and win the division. And I want this to be a big win for the Vikings. So I'm going to say it's 10. It's a 10 out of 10 important game for me.
I think the hot take police are circling a little. It's funny because I agree with everything you just said. And for those reasons, it's a 9 for me. And I thought I was going to get pulled over by the hot take police. And Declan took it to a 10. But if you win, you clinch the division. So that's the biggest thing, right? It's a division clinching opportunity for you. You'll have many of them, even if you lose. But the second thing is the disrespect and the perception of this team has sort of hit a fever pitch. Another close, lucky win against the Jets. And now, because of the way that you have gone about your business, walking this tightrope all season, a 5-7 team. You are 10-2 and a 5-7 team that is historically the most embarrassing franchise in NFL history is a 2-point favorite over you. So it's just like such a slap in the face. And I'm not even saying it's unwarranted because the Vikings have not blown anybody out and the Lions are playing well. But you can sort of, if you go in and you smack them upside the head and you put the Lions back in their place, you can do a lot of things this weekend. You can clinch a division. You can turn a perception. You can hang with the Eagles to stay within striking distance of the number 1 overall seed. So it is a huge game for the Vikings from those perspectives.
To be clear, so if the Vikings win by 3, do you care?
I want them to just win and win the division first and foremost.
Sure.
So no,
But I'm saying, okay. So it doesn't need to be like a 14-point win.
No, if you win the game now, win the game first and foremost.
Okay.
But if you could win the game with some separation, it would say even more because you'd be an underdog than winning by like 10 or something.
Okay.
There's some trends here that we will get to later that aren't good for the Vikings when it comes to historical comparisons.
Hater.
But yeah, it's an important game.
Naysayer.
Question number 2: is anyone playing or coaching for their job this week?
And
Eddie Ingram's been a lot better.
He has been. Now, this question, to be clear, and I have not fleshed this out with you, but I will now. Does this question hinge on the next week? So, like when you say
it could be big. It could be big picture.
Because I mean, I am going to go with this. I am going to go with at some point in time, there's one man being judged, and he should be judged, and the judging might be harsh. Ed Donatel. He's not going to be fired right now. He is in zero jeopardy of being fired before the end of the season. But the defense, bend but don't break. I hate that term because eventually you often do break. Some of the deficiencies that I think can be fixed aren't necessarily being fixed consistently. He has made some tweaks. He blitzed more, I think, against the Jets, which was good. They didn't get home, but I still like the perception that you're applying pressure. But yeah, I will say for the rest of the season, if things don't turn around a bit more, especially if they have a couple of good games and then regress, Ed Donatel is working for his job long-term.
I'll give you another one. That's not Ed Ingram, and one we probably haven't really talked about that much on this edition of Purple Daily, but is Jalen Reagor threatening KJ Osborne for his job?
Yeah.
So Reagor had it's starting to show up a little bit more, had a big catch last week. He can stretch the field a little bit more, and KJ Osborne's fine. KJ Osborne's kind of turned into just a guy. He's a very solid third wide receiver, right? Is Jalen Reagor starting to push him a little bit more? I would like to see him get more reps, Reagor, that is. And in fact, I know it's limited snaps filled, but I think Jalen Reagor is the second or third best graded player on the Vikings offense via PFF this season. Very limited snaps. Very limited snaps. So sample size is smaller there. But is he starting to push KJ Osborne? That would be something I'd be looking to watch against the Lions.
Yep. I agree with that one. I'll give you this one too. I don't think it's a full-time replacement, but I think Jordan Hicks is fighting for like the allotment of playing time he has had so far. They snuck Brian Asamoah out there for another handful of snaps in the first half yesterday, or on last week, I should say, on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, especially between the 20s, it's such a glaring problem. Coverage for the Vikings linebackers, they just aren't doing a good job. And that's part of the reason why these teams are moving the ball at will. Now, Brian Asamoah is not great in coverage coming out of college either, but he is faster. So I don't know that they have anyone that's like truly ready to take a job full time, but I do think that they do have a coverage problem between Eric Kendricks and Jordan Hicks, but Kendricks has been amazing at stopping the run game still, so something to watch. The next question for you guys: what is the biggest storyline you're interested in this week?
For me, it is the Vikings. Can they win? Can they win the game convincingly? Can they do we have another down to the wire, heart palpitating? It's fun to watch, but if you're a fan, I think it gets to be a little bit tiresome, and you would like to see your team occasionally win by, let's say, 10 to 14 points. So the storyline is that Detroit is much improved. They've played great of late, but that being said, they aren't certainly a juggernaut. So can the Vikings create separation? Not because I need them to do it to prove something, but because I'm just curious if they can at this point. Like they are addicted. It's like a drug to close games. They have won an NFL record. They're not 9 consecutive wins. Their last 9 wins, have come by 1 score. Okay. That's ridiculous. It's fun to personally, I think, because it keeps the games intriguing lots of times. But the storyline to me is that as the season progresses now into the last portion, can you win a couple games by 14 points?
Yeah, I would say also the track meet style this game could be. So the Lions defense is horrible. It's 32nd in points. It's 32nd in yards. It's 31st in red zone. It is a sieve of a defense. It gives up. It's nothing that's great situationally, like unlike the Vikings defense who give up a lot of yards, but the Vikings defense can create turnovers. They were great again in the red zone last week. There's nothing about this Lions defense that's really good. So if Donashell is going to give up 400 yards, if the Lions are going to give up 400 yards, is this going to be just a track meet game? I think that's what the biggest storyline I'm looking forward here is this going to be just an offensive haymaker between Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins? I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm going to go with the easy answer and say I am interested to see if we can get a TJ Hawkinson game here. Is there a 2-touchdown game from Hawkinson here? Is there a 120 yards just running all over everyone between the 20s game? He's been very good, and he's just learning the system over the last month or so. Is there a breakout game here? Will he be inspired by the Lions saying, we don't view you as part of our vaunted core.
And then
we don't view you as part of our future.
We didn't need you.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
So I think there could be some inspiration there playing in front of his old team, family, friends, whatever, for TJ Hawkinson. Okay, the next question before we get to the actual pick is, what scares you most about the Lions?
What scares me most is sort of twofold. It's the fact that the Vikings defense still does not have me convinced that they are reliable. The Lions can move the football. Jared Goff actually of late, you guys, has been very good. And I know that sounds weird, but he has before in his career gotten into streaks where he is good. He is in one of those streaks now. And to Dex's point, the Vikings certainly have shown that they can give up yards. So that scares me, is that the Vikings struggle to slow the Lions offense, and then they start to score points. It gets out of hand. You're on the road, makes it more difficult. That's the top thing that scares me.
Honestly, the Lions have a lot of really good young playmakers up and coming here. So Aiden Hutchinson's been a beast for them so far this season. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown has turned into low-key one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. I would say the weapons around the Lions is what scares me. Jared Goff, I don't know what version of Jared Goff we're going to get. Jeb brings up a good point that, yes, he's been to a Super Bowl. He's playing hot right now. But I think the weapons on both sides of the ball that are specialists, like obviously Hutchinson on the defensive side of the ball for the Lions and Amon-Ra St. Brown, the great wide receiver for the Lions, I think it's more the weapons on the Lions that probably scare me the most if I'm the Vikings.
I'll give you 2 things here, actually. Number one, these teams always play close games lately. So just the fact that you're going to be in another weird close game against the Lions should kind of scare people. But we talked yesterday on Purple Daily, the state of the offense, about Cousins under pressure and how he's just made huge strides statistically under pressure this season compared to the previous year. But against blitzes specifically, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Like 32nd in yards per attempt, bottom of the barrel passer rating. He has struggled against blitzing. Mm-hmm. What's funny is not all blitzes lead to pressures, but it could make you feel like there's pressure. You could see ghosts, whatever. So there's some overlap there that doesn't make a lot of sense. If he's great against pressure, but he's not against blitzes. Well, the bad news is the Lions are one of the most blitz-heavy teams in the NFL. In fact, only 5 teams blitz more than the Lions do. They blitz on 32% of passes, and they have one of the highest quarterback hurry rates in the NFL. They hurry the quarterback on 11% of dropbacks. So they're not gonna stop doing that, especially looking at how Kirk has struggled. My guess is Kirk can expect more blitzes in this game than he's seen all year. How will he handle it? Will he? And I'm sure they know this, so I'm sure they're scheming against this. But that's something to watch. Absolutely, the Lions, one of their rare strengths on defense, or maybe it's not even a strength; it's just a thing that they do. They're not even necessarily great at blitzing, but they do it a lot, and Kirk has not been great against blitzes, so something to watch.
Get the ball out, baby. Get that ball out.
Might have to be. Or maybe you just pound the run and it's a Dalvin Cook game or something too, and there's some big plays in the passing game. All right, let's get to the actual picks here and what some of the smart betting platforms are saying. Presented by our friends over at Prize Picks, an easy way to play daily fantasy. So if you go to prizepicks.com, you'll get a $100 deposit bonus if you enter the promo code NORTH. North, that's all you have to do. And then you'll let them know basically that we sent you, and you can help our show as well if you're interested in doing that. You can pick, so basically you pick an over-under on 2 to 5 players, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. You can run mixed sports entries if you want to go a little over on the Cousins over here, a little under on the Gobert rebounds or something. You can do mixed sports entries. Prize Picks app and prizepicks.com. A good date idea, speaking from experience, might be the Chanhassen dinner theaters, Judd. A fun little date night.
That's exactly right. And a great holiday gift then is a gift card right here that you can take to Chan. And I'm going to tell you right now, we have a variety of date night ideas, okay? A musical on stage. You got Footloose, The Prom, Jersey Boys, a concert series that features, and this is a personal favorite of mine, tribute concerts, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Sinatra, Patsy Cline. How about that? Love music. Or the comedy improv show with Stevie Ray's is a blast as well, where you suggest the ideas and the actors do the skits. And okay, in the midst of that, guess what? You're also going to get a great meal, a great steak, prime rib, the famous Chicken Chan. Fantastic, right? Again, gift card. How do you get them? This simple, 952-934-1525, or visit chanhassendt.com, chanhassendt.com, or go out there and get one yourself. But any way you do it, if you have one of these babies for, let's say, your mom, your girlfriend, your wife on Christmas Day or in the stocking, they are going to be absolutely thrilled. Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. Check it out, chanhassendt.com.
All right, let's make our picks here, boys. Let's start with some information. The Vikings are 2-point underdogs in most sports books against the Lions. That's right. The 10-win Vikings are 2-point underdogs against the 5-win Lions. Both teams have won 4 out of their last 5. The Vikings have actually won, 8 out of their last 9 out of the last 10? A lot. The Vikings have won a lot.
They're winning consistently.
The bets are split 50-50. 50% of the bets are on the Vikings. 50% of the bets are on the Lions. Here's what's crazy. 92% of the money on Action Network is on the Lions to cover the 2. 92% of the money is on the Lions.
Yep.
So you've got some smart, well, I would assume, but you've got, because if the bets are 50-50, it means that, and the money is 92 to 8. Think about how much more those Lions bettors are putting on this game and how much more confident they are than the Vikings bettors.
Right.
That's insane.
Yep.
Okay, Action Network says the last time a team with its starting quarterback healthy and an 80% win percentage or more was an underdog against a team under 500 in December or later, 2004. The 9-2 Falcons behind Michael Vick were 1.5 underdogs going into Tampa Bay to face the 4-7 Buccaneers. You want to know what happened on that day?
Yes.
I know what happened, unfortunately.
I don't know.
The Buccaneers, the 4-7 Buccaneers won that game 27-0. Who did they score those 27 points on? Ed Donatell's Falcons defense.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yep. He had just left Green Bay.
Yeah.
He'd been fired by the Packers after 4th and 26 in FedEx.
Small sample size. It's just one example historically, but it's the last time that this scenario sort of took place. It's very interesting.
Jeez. And the last time, we bristled a little bit as well when the Vikings were dogs to the Cowboys here. If you recall that one.
We did.
We bristled a little bit and we're like, why would they be underdogs at home to the Dallas Cowboys? They're not that great. And the Cowboys beat them by 37 points.
Mm-hmm.
So you want my pick after all that, huh?
Oh, I got more for you
to
help you make your pick.
Glad I didn't say anything.
It's a rough matchup for Kirk Cousins, Action Network says. The Lions, we already went over this. The Lions blitz at the 10th highest rate in the NFL. According to Pro Football Reference, actually the 6th highest rate. Cousins ranks 31st out of 36 qualified quarterbacks in quarterback rating against the blitz and 34th in success rate. So we already talked about that. Cousins is 28 and 37 against the spread after a straight up win in his career. So he just doesn't bounce back, at least against the spread, after winning games in his career very well.
Okay.
And since 2017, he's 17 and 29 against the spread after a straight up win. The least profitable quarterback against the spread in the NFL in those scenarios. So, with that information,
everything points to a Vikings loss.
Yes,
Everything points,
literally everything points.
Which
to
is
the
why
Vikings.
this line is what this line is.
Yep.
All right. This is bad news. I'm trying to digest all this right now. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So, let's see. So the Vikings go in there in a season in which games have been incredibly close, and Detroit's playing well. And the Vikings fly home after the game, having won 24-17. That's right. I believe. Flying the flag. Take that, Dan Campbell. Take that, Lions.
The
Take
trends
that,
be damned. The trends be damned.
Yep. I think that
Analytics be damned. Dan Campbell be damned.
I think the perfect non-straw man lack of belief in this team. And you know what? KOC is going to bring up the Dallas game, right? Like, we had a chance to prove something. We were underdogs at home and we got our asses kicked.
Yeah.
And now we got a chance again now to go on the road in a tough environment. So I'm picking the Vikings. Not as high scoring as it might be, but I just feel it's going to be a weird game. Probably a late touchdown again, 24-17.
I will take the Vikings to win this game, and I will say the final score will be 34-21. 34-21.
So a big blowout victory for the Vikings.
Big blowout win for the Vikings. 34-21 and get the flag.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't go that big, Stella. I'm sorry. Pop let you down. Couldn't go that big.
Wow.
Oh, man, I just
34-21 would answer a lot of the questions people have, right? You blow a team out, your defense holds a high scoring team to 21 on the road, your offense breaks out.
Yep.
I do think this is going to be a little bit of a track meet. I don't know that these defenses are going to, maybe there's some turnovers and stuff. But I've been telling you guys, I don't think the Vikings are going to just like run the table and finish with 2 losses.
Uh-oh.
This is the game that they are most likely to lose if you look at the rest of the schedule, depending on what you think about the road Packers game at that point. Jordan Love's probably playing at that point. I could see a feisty Bears team, Justin Fields trying to finish strong. They have a top 5 pick secured. Let's finish strong. But I laughed in the face of data and trends. You mentioned that Cowboys game.
You did. You mocked them.
I am not going to do the same thing here. I think the Vikings are going to lose this game. I will be the buzzkill. I will be. Yep, that's right.
So,
Stella, hold the flag.
You're suited to be the 4th guy in our group, Buzz Killington?
I will be the buzzkill.
Hold the flag. We can't wave it. Uncle Phil just let us all down.
You just made the list.
I'm going to say this. I don't know. I do agree. This could be kind of a weird game. But the Lions, think about this too. The Lions are desperately trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. They almost beat Buffalo on Thanksgiving too, if not for a bad coaching decision there, pumping the brakes and settling for a field goal. So they could have 5 wins in a row right now, including a win over Buffalo.
Yep.
So I'm going to say Lions put up 27 and the Vikings put up 23, and the Vikings have the ball with a chance to win in the end, but they somehow don't come through. Kirky McClutcherton, Mr. Fourth Quarter comeback, can't get them all. He's got 6 already. Not to mention, this guy right here. Dan Campbell doesn't just like football. Dan Campbell loves football.
That doesn't happen by accident. Everything we talked about, we stayed the course, what you guys have done, man. And we're playing some pretty clean, physical football, man.
Football!
Football, yeah! Football! Football!
Gotta eat!
Will tears be shed from Man Campbell on Sunday?
No,
Win or lose?
because that'd be fine. Lose maybe. So I think for the second game in a season against the Vikings, Man Campbell is going to lose the game because he lost the game last time by not. He'd gone for it 6 times on 4th down.
Yeah.
I think they were 4 or 6.
Yeah.
And then at the moment of truth, he tried to kick a field goal. They missed, and the Vikings got a short field.
Yep.
I think he's going to do it again.
It could be. He definitely doesn't know what he's doing in those situations. He doesn't. And I'll give you good news. If I'm right and they lose, it doesn't derail the season. They're still gonna
see,
probably beat the Colts, probably beat the Giants, whatever. Like, they'll be fine. Still play a home playoff game.
If they lose, I'm off the show. I'm just done. I mean,
You're done.
There's no sense in doing our show if they lose to Detroit.
There it is. You heard it from Judd. Judd's quitting the show if the Vikings. He's putting his career on the line if the Vikings lose this game.
Much like I'll go join Keys and the Whisperer on an island sipping cocktails from a straw.
A shout out to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company for helping power Score North on a daily basis. Purple Daily, Mackie and Joe, we appreciate them. And they've been a guiding hand for countless businesses since 1904, based in Owatonna, Minnesota, partners with the Timberwolves and other local sports teams in town. Find out how they can help elevate your business through risk management tools and resources by going to federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, Vikings Vent Line right after this game is over on Sunday. Purple Daily YouTube channel exclusively. Click subscribe so that we can get you that notification when we go live right after a potential massive upset. Vikings going on the road as underdogs.
Oh, my God. Who would have thought they could beat the Detroit Lions?
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.